don't. It told me I didn't.
Okay, yes, it looks like we're recording.
Okay, perfect. So you can start with your presentation.
Yes. Yeah. So thank you everyone for giving us the opportunity to share our narrative. And thank you Go Campaign everyone for being there during this pandemic. So I will start with the context, how it started, this project. So I made a short documentary. So my background is storytelling, and I made a short documentary in 2012, and it's called Dharavi Diary. And that captured the life of people who were being kind of pushed out from this neighborhood and how redevelopment is impacting this community. And so during that documentary traveled in a lot of film festivals, but I felt that the community didn't gain anything as such from that documentary. Like it created a voice for it, but how I'm adding value to the community who so uh, much share their narrative. So how I can help them? I was constantly in touch with the kids and their families. So I started to teach them and things like that. But things were not shaping up as I wanted to. And most of the time, nonprofits work in India that they don't show how ways of learning is not taught in the school also, and lot of things like you are not taught how to fish, you are given a fish, and that's the methodology which I was keen to develop their kind of skills so that they can become the part of they can enhance and engage with their community, and they can make it social impact. So that's how we started this project in 2014. And where as I don't know how many people know about Dharavi. Dharavi is like in the middle of Mumbai. It's a population close to 1 million people who are living, and a teeny tiny room. The uh, family of 5 to 6, 8 people are living in the same. So they don't have, if somebody is cooking, rest of the family are sitting outside. If somebody is taking bath, rest of the people are standing outside. They have nothing to do. They have no safe access to a space to do self-study, a place, and most of them are first-generation learners. So nobody is there at their families who can help them with their whatever concepts they are not able to understand. So that's how we started our learning center, where storytelling and technology, how we can leverage from this. And we started this center and try to start to engage youngsters. So in the beginning, we started with 15 girls who started, and boys also, few boys, because when I was going around while making this documentary, I have seen that a lot of time girls are not given a chance to go to school. They become the mother of the family. If there's a boy and a girl in the family, it's the boys who go to private school, and girls become the mother. They take care of the household chores and things like that. And because their mother and father are working somewhere, so they take care of the younger siblings. So I started to engage with them and trying to showcase that if anybody can learn, if they are given a chance and resources, somebody to mentor them and given them whatever the hardware or in terms of books, and somebody to mentor them. So the methodology which we use is storytelling and technology, and we always try to kind of give the context why they are learning what they are learning. So most of the project-based learning we try to do here in the slide, what you are seeing that they are learning about rainwater harvesting, which is very like in Mumbai, 3 months of monsoon rains, it's worse. So how they can use rainwater harvesting to kind of save water during the monsoon, which they can use, repurpose it. So that's here. So most of the like methodology which we are trying here, they are learning about robotics from one of our facilitators. Again here during the monsoon time, there's a lot of mosquitoes and malaria and stuff like that. So how they can do projects which kind of gives them conceptual understanding of what they are learning in their school ecosystem, but how they can use those. So learn, build, and present. these are the 3 steps of our every workshop which we do with the kids at our center or in the lower income schools wherever our program are running. And then we also saw that a lot of kids are playing Candy Crush on their mobile phone. Each house has it. So how we can use kind of like, so they are so much interested in technology. So what if they are taught computer science and they can use those know-how, basic technology to build mobile apps, or also gain different insights about technology which they can use to make their life easier. So introduce them to computer science. And in the beginning, we started with 25, and then with the help of Go campaign grant, we almost reached to 125 kids. Uh, like taught them basic coding through platform of MIT App Inventor, and which is called Scratch. Then we also used Blockly. We taught close to 75 girls uh, how to build use WordPress to build websites. And some of them also got few, like Dharavi is like a recycle hub, and a lot of products are made in the community. So how they built some website for few local merchants and that. So, and then we also got grant from NVIDIA, and through which we got a mobile van, and which goes in lower income schools and communities. And there we are kind of aligned a lot of concepts which are in line with sustainable development goals, and we align that through their curriculum. Like we have introduced a lot of concepts, like how what most of these schools doesn't have like lab where they can kind of learn by doing. So this van is equipped with a lot of educational material and all the educational kits where they learn by doing it, and they also present it. So in this slide, what they are learning about how to use solar panel and to build solar light. So most of these learnings are that if they are learning how to make solar light, so how most of these community during the summer, peak of summer, there is a power cut, and then there is complete darkness. So how they can make solar lamp, and they can use in the for their household purpose. They can also use solar, make use of solar lights, and they can make their alleys more safer for girls and women to navigate in the community, because it's very dark in the night, and so it's not safe for them. So they themselves came with the idea, what if we use this know-how to kind of build these solar lights and make our community safer. And so that's how, so right now we are reaching out through our learning center in Mumbai, close to 250 kids. And since the schools are closed, and then we are using this van to kind of go in the community and distributing. We do sessions for different age groups and give them kind of worksheets so that they keep learning and their learning curve is not goes down. So we have built a lot of content, and we go and distribute it, and then our facilitators kind of again go back. So we are kind of through Mumbai and Pune center, we are reaching out to close to 600 kids during this pandemic. And still the schools are closed. We don't know when it is going to open. So learning centers like this has been very beneficial during this pandemic, because they don't have a safe place, and things are so grim because they are locked down inside the house. A lot of time, a lot of families had domestic violence and stuff like that. But spaces like this gives a kind of a different kind of a perspective to what how they can challenge the status quo. So a lot of time, whatever they have learned at our learning center, they have used. We have done workshop on gender and domestic violence with the kids, and they have intervened in their families to stop that. They have a lot of time their like father was abusive. Uh, so how they have engaged. So it's very heartwarming to see these youngsters to engage in the family decision and how they have intervened to stop domestic violence. Some of the girls were like being were getting married at a very young age, like child marriage and how few girls, how they intervened and stopped that marriage. So all these things are, so the larger vision of this project is how we can make uh, more leaders from this kind of community, how we can make more sustainable problem solvers by giving them hands-on learning of interdisciplinary approach of learning. So the vision of that is like how we can build more leaders from the community through enhancing their skills, learning abilities, and problem solving abilities in a sustainable way. And during this pandemic, with Go campaign support, we were able to provide ration. So thank you for, because most of these parents work in informal sector, like as household workers, they work as a cook, cleaner, or they sell vegetables. They used to work as senior care. So they completely lost their job because they were living in the neighborhood. In the first phase, most of the cases came from these kind of like densely populated area, and Dharavi was one of them. So they lost their jobs and they were not taken back to work. Still, a lot of families are still struggling. But during the pandemic, it was worse. So we could support these families with 3 months of dry groceries, medical support. We supported the kids with stationery items, mask and sanitizer. And so a lot of families found a ray of hope in spite of, we did a lot of like we distributed hardware also. We got through like crowdsource campaign, we got access to hardware like mobile phone. We did webinar to engage the like did webinar for kids, their parents, how to kind of they can uh, like be healthy, how they can use little healthy food with whatever little they have. So in terms of uh, cooking, so engaging the, kept the whole community engaged in the during this pandemic, so that it doesn't, they don't lose hope, and they, lot of mental issues were kind of coming up. So we used all this like uh, whatever support we could kind of gain from people around the world, and we supported close to uh, in total close to 12,000 families in Dharavi only, I would say, with dry ration, some with 3 months, and some for 45 days, 1 month, based on whatever we could kind of get access to. So right now, now since the second wave is increasing, it's again a lot of that kind of, so like people are, how they are going to like earn their living. A few of them, they had gone back to their village again. They came back when things started to got the curve got flattened. Then they came back from their village to Mumbai because there was no work back in the village. So now engaging, now they got the work, but now again the second wave has started in last 10-15 days. So they are again finding where they will go, how they will pay the rent and things like that. So uh, let's hope that it doesn't get worse. And we are trying to engage, we are distributing as many masks and sanitizer to the community so that they can feel safe, and engaging the youngsters also, uh, how at the community level and at our learning centers also, we are kind of trying to follow the guidelines and get as many people vaccinated from their families who are part of our program, and other people also who we know. So that's and the schools are no. I don't think it's going to open before. Like it might open in August, September. That's what I can sense from whenever we talk with educational like staff members, these officials. So like the role of this learning center has become very, and I think the more learning centers, community-based learning centers are there, it adds a lot of value to like it becomes more of a second home for these kids, where they feel safe, where they feel that they are being nurtured. There's somebody to help them out. There are books, there are toys, there are somebody to talk to them. There is access to internet. They know that, and they are also these like college going students who were part of a program for last 3 years. They really played a great role during this pandemic. They were the change makers. Actually, they reached out to their community. They went and did a lot of mapping who needs the support, and they kind of volunteers. So a lot of giving back, that intent has already, and they have been part of the narrative. When they are going to vote next time, they are going to make better kind of choices, because a lot of time these communities are not part of like democratic how it works, and so they also got awareness, and they are more keener to be part of it, because they feel that something needs to be done. If it's not done now, then never it will happen, and we always have to face, so we have to take things into account. And because of the access to technology, a lot of them youngsters, they want to be part of it, and they are learning newer tools. And I hope things will get better when things we get over this pandemic. And already a lot of youngsters who have been part of a program, they have got in terms of, they are going to some of the best colleges in the city. They got internships in a few newspapers, who are doing mass media courses like journalism and stuff. Some of them are doing engineering. Few kids who were interested to like very good in drawing. I think Scott met one of them, Adnan. He found internship, and he's working for a production house in a web series as an assistant art director. So a lot of like I think a lot of value it is adding, and they are not only supporting themselves, they are also giving back to their families, and they are engaging, and they are inspiring the youngsters from these neighborhoods. And during this pandemic, this van has played a very big role in reaching out with all these relief material, and also how to engage the youngsters from the community, how to engage the old people, also how showing them videos on. So it is equipped with audio visual stuff. So where we go in, we screen videos, how to be safer, how to engage. So this whole and community centric kind of learning is really adding value to it. So what I feel that when they are part of a learning curve, which when they are building something, when you build, then you care for it. So I feel that STEM education is a kind of a creative a mindset of a builder, and which kind of enhances our core empathy value, and which gives us a joy that I made something, and then we care for it, and then we also care for other people, that they will care. So if we kind of use this methodology for more youngsters, and create a safe and a joyful place for kids, then I think it will add, and I'm very much hopeful that things will get better as we go ahead. And it is already, I can see whenever I interact with them, I see a lot of hope and a lot of, yeah, in spite of whatever difficulties we have in terms of their families, but there is hope. And I think and Go campaign has really played a major role in this, all that. Whenever I have reached out to people like me, Amy, when things were, and it was like in just few days, you were coming back with some kind of help, and we could do it because of people like you. And so thank you to all of you for making all this possible. And it's a long way, I know, but yeah, but I'm pretty much hopeful that things will get better, and uh, we will sail across. Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you for sharing and for all of your amazing work. I want to make sure that people have a chance to ask questions. So if anybody has any questions, the floor is.
Can I hop in? Okay, so I know that you said that you started out as a storyteller. Um, was it specifically when you were working on that documentary you said in 2012? Was it specifically then, and you saw everything that was going on, that you were inspired to start working with the kids directly and doing these kinds of things?
Yes, so I started to engage the young kids who were part of the documentary in the beginning, and then a lot of other kids also got to know about our program, and they started to drop in, and then I started to build content which uses the storytelling as a major focus, and so that I can engage them. So it's an engagement tool, and to make them understand, giving a context. What is the storytelling? It's just context, why we are doing what we are doing. And that's what I used to say, tell them. And then they, okay, this has got relevance for me. I put more energy into it. And if you don't understand why you are learning, a lot of time it's very abstract. Okay, you are learning quadratic equation, but what is the use of it? But what if you learn quadratic equation, your logical critical thinking abilities get enhanced, and then you see, okay, you then use the same methodology to solve some kind of other problem. So like context building, why you are learning, what you are learning, and how you can use it, these three dots, if we kind of, so that what I use, and I always whenever we are kind of working with our facilitators, keep that into mind. So yeah, as you said, like, yeah, started with the storytelling, but I felt that most of the time, like a filmmaker just tells the story, it gives a kind of a awareness in the world, but storytelling will really make an impact when we engage. Storytelling is a tool to engage, but it should not just be because, okay, I have seen stories like this, but how we can engage and train them also to they are able to tell their own stories. Why people like me has to tell their stories? What if they are taught to learn storytelling or different other tech tools, and they can do their own problem solving in a more sustainable way because they understand the community in a much more better way than what I can. So yeah, so context, giving them context, why they are learning, what they are learning, and that really added value, and that's what how it started off.
Yeah, and it's clearly very effective and working really well and making the impact that you want it to make. So thank you.
Yeah, and that's why we came up with this steam van, because our center and the rentals space in Mumbai and Pune is it's very expensive. So that's why we came with the idea of mobile van, and which can go in the community and which can kind of use community spaces like temple, church, or like a playground, and where we use I will share the video of STEAM workshops with you post this call. And it's very effective in both Mumbai and Pune and in rural areas too. And if we can have more vans like this, it will create a lot of change. And most of these, like whatever sessions we are doing, it's making them future ready. We are aligning it with sustainable development goals. Like they are learning about solar, they are learning about technology, they are learning about rainwater harvesting. So it's very successful. And there also we are adding context why you are learning what they are learning, and they can use it in their rural setup or urban setup in whatever way those learning abilities for problem solving in a sustainable way. So yeah, and interdisciplinary approach is not being used in India as much, which it should be. So through this STEM lab, which kind of integrating a lot of different concepts in a very interdisciplinary way. So that's what I feel that needs to be done.
Kristen, do you have a question?
Yes, I was just going to say thank you so much for sharing that information with us. It's so encouraging to hear firsthand what you're doing there. I know you spoke about a couple of different cases in terms of success stories who have moved on to colleges and art direction and things like that. Is there any story specifically that has really stood out to you in your time working at Dharavi Diary, in terms of like something that has motivated you and kept you going?
Yeah, so there was a case, a family of 4 kids, and there was a big, like a domestic violence issue in that family, and they were really struggling with, and the father was not doing anything. He was like alcoholic, and he was kind of abusing the mother and the kids also, and how we kind of worked over a year, more than a year, and this girl was doing was in her college, and she was thinking to drop out, eldest daughter of the family, and she was thinking to drop out. How we engaged with them, with that girl, and to inspire the youngsters and work with the father, how she also took the help a lot of time, how she stopped that domestic violence in the family. And now she has graduated, she has completed her masters, and now she's working in a startup, biotech startup in Bangalore. And it's a huge, and how she's from first generation learners, and she's not only helping her family but younger siblings also, and they are going to engineering college. 4 of them were part of our program, all of them, and they are going to engineering college. 2 of them are going to engineering college. One is going to a design school in Mumbai. So it's a huge, and that gives me hope. And a lot of time that one kid come and then they see the value, then they bring other kids from their families, and so the siblings, and they see, they become the part of the narrative. And so I always keep them. So this inspires, and we all are work in progress, and things are not going to. So we have to understand. Okay, things are difficult, but it will get better if we keep working and be positive about it. So yeah, stories like this, and a lot of them. Then one girl during the pandemic, she lost her dad, and she was not part of our program in the beginning. She heard that we are distributing ration, and Go campaign that time helped us, and we reached out to that girl, and now she's part of the program. In ninth grade now. She is going to school in 10th grade, and she is very much, she wants to become a teacher now. She has hope that, okay, I have lost my father during the pandemic, but I have found Dharavi Diary, and I feel a lot of encouragement in terms of that how she feels, that uh, there's somebody, that it's not the end of the road. Things will get better. Yeah, so a lot of stories. Pune also a lot of, so.
That's amazing. Thank you so
So
much for
yeah,
sharing
yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah.
Now, Lauren, who was in on our, she had to leave early, but she asked me to thank you first of all, and she had a question to ask you as I asked it on her behalf. That you mentioned that students started mapping the community during COVID to identify the needs, and who needed help. And so, when programming continues, when will you incorporate more community planning into the program, and what are you thinking about?
So right now we map a lot of communities where senior citizen and vulnerable population, lot of transgender also community lives in the community. That's what youngsters, they came up, and they are also struggling a lot. Lot of the families. Only this came from our youth volunteers, that they came and they shared that how. So we are engaging with them, and we are reaching out to local donors or people who are doing food relief and things like that, how they can kind of be part of, and they can be also trained. So we are planning to engage, like learning digital tools, so that they can, and how we can bring some of them to our centers for few days. So a lot of those kind of mapping which we have done, we are trying to inculcate when things get a little better in the future. And we are already doing relief work with these communities also, and kind of helping them so that so, and the youngsters only how mapping kind of not only while learning concepts, how this community mapping can help them also to reach out to policymakers. So they are reaching out to policymakers. Okay, this is part of the community where more COVID cases are coming. How you can bring more health worker in the community and reach out to them. And so we have made a list of it, and we are reaching out to policymakers because a lot of things which we can not do on our own, we need the help of hospitals and health workers, things like that. So that's how we are trying to reach out to these, like whatever data we have collected through our like community mapping and community outreach. Yeah.
Thank you. Alex, do you have a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention I'm new to the Go campaign, and I really appreciate you walking through these wonderful programs and activities. I appreciate you taking the time to walk through it. I was just curious. I think you mentioned that schools are closed right now and that they'll be opening at some point, maybe later in the year. Once they do open, will you continue to offer these programs and augment what the schools are doing or integrate in some way in the future?
Yeah, so whatever we are doing, we were like before the pandemic also, like most of the schools where these kids are going, the experiential learning methodology is not being used but by program of hours, they add value because the schools are not equipped with like lab where they can learn by doing it. So like program like of us, we get into the school, we intervene and we engage with the youngsters in different grade through our STEM band, and we kind of do the same methodology which we are doing at our learning centers and at community level. So when the school will reopen, then also we have been already engaging with 6 schools in Mumbai and in 2 schools in Pune, in lower income schools, to use this. We are planning to set up STEM labs in these schools where the kids can, and which will be run by our facilitators. They will be training the teachers also, and they will be using that space to engage the school kids from the school. So this will keep going, and if we can get grant, we are writing grant proposals so that we can bring a lot of time. What I have seen during this pandemic, especially if girls are not given access to technology, so they feel that if they get smartphone, they will run away with a boy and things like that. That's the part popular narrative. That's what is being. But there are a lot of other things which they can learn. So they will be just using for social media and stuff. So we distributed one mobile phone. We did the experiment, and okay, the center will give a mobile phone to one girl from each family, and you see how it adds value to that. So in the pandemic, we have distributed like 40 mobile phones, and all these parents now see the value of it, because a lot of things what is happening now during the pandemic, it's becoming cashless, and the parents are used to different platforms, and the kids are super smart and they learn all these tools at the center, and then they are using those tools to do the payment online and things like that. So they are seeing the value in that, and then they are also attending a lot of online courses. They are attending a lot of courses which are available for free online also, MOOC classes on Coursera, on edX, and platforms like that, which we introduced with. So a lot of those things are also. So post the pandemic, we will be intervening in the school and community level at the same way which we are doing at the community learning center, because our learning center is not that big, as I said, because the rental is so much in Mumbai and in Pune. So we try to kind of engage, and half of the time they spend at schools, like 6 to 8 hours. And so if we can add value and more, because a lot of the teachers in these schools are not that inspired, and so through the program like us, they feel the value and the exposure of experiential learning, and then they also get inspired to do something like that. So that's what we're planning to do.
Yeah, that's great to hear, and I think having the mobile STEAM lab, that's a great idea, given that high rental cost. I think that's a great way to access a lot of students at a low cost. So congratulations on that program. That sounds fantastic.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
No, but Nawneet, thanks so much for sharing your stories. They're as inspiring as always. And, you know, I was so glad that I was able to visit you and see it in person in last February before the pandemic struck. And I saw everything you're saying. I've seen firsthand.
And you have met that boy. You have met that boy, Adnan. I think you met him with some artwork, and he was telling recently when I was having conversation, he was a little hesitant to meet you. I forced him to no, go meet you and with your artwork, and you should be independent and talk to people and things like that. So he has found an internship and he's earning, he's helping his family and things like that. So he was saying thank you to you all. Yeah. So yeah, Scott,
I have a piece of his artwork in my living room.
Yeah, wonderful.
So you can tell him I still have it, and I think of him, and yeah, and so it's just, you know, everything you've said. I'm so glad that I got the chance to see it, and I know that it's true and that it's working. So thank you for sharing this, so everybody else on the team here and Alex could also hear about it and get to know you and your wonderful work better. So thank you for taking the time tonight.
Yeah, thank you to everyone, and I'm looking forward to working with you all, and so that we all can make this world a better place. We all have one life, and I think it's worth doing something and helping each other, so that there's always joy in each hurt, and there's a hope that things will get better. So thank you.
I mean, I think you shared your hope with us, and it's been so inspirational. So, Danny, I knew you had something to say, so I'm gonna let you close it out. Words of wisdom.
I just wanted to say thanks. I really enjoyed this. I know that I think you're starting your day right now, and we're ending our day, but this was a lovely way to end my day. Thank you so much for sharing everything with us and kind of giving us a little bit of hope as we go into the night, and hopefully it's a nice way for you to start your day. But we really appreciate you taking the time out to speak with us and lay everything, sorry if you can hear that, and lay everything out for us and answer our questions and everything. We know you're very busy, so we really appreciate it.
No, thank you, and certainly, and we should keep doing every quarter, and I would love to showcase you and we'll interact with our students sometime. If we do like 4 or 5 of them, they can share, and they will be more inspired, because kids like Adnan, when he met Scott and he interacted with them, it really shows, especially in this pandemic, and how you can use technology to leverage, so that more kids will be inspired. So I think we should do more often like this, and it will really add value to all of us. And in spite of whatever greenness is there and things like, but things will get better, and it will help us to make our narrative better, and wherever we are, to help and reach out and to make things better in a more sustainable way. Yeah. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much. I hope you have a great day today, and just we're so grateful, and we'll definitely, I'm sure, be in touch about how to do a session with the kids at some point in the future, because I know people would love that as well.
Yeah, thank you everyone, and have a good night. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.